At first, Jesus and Peter, they go out just a little way from shore. And then later, Jesus will ask Peter to go out into deeper water, right? Like there are these different levels of faith for the individual that's represented in this idea of the water. There is first the safety and easy faith of the land. Those that are just listening and seeking, learning some things from Jesus, but not really making much commitment to Jesus. Then next, there's this slightly more risky and difficult faith of being in the water just a little way from the shore. Those who kind of do some things for Jesus, those that might pray a bit or attend church from time to time, give some money or tithe to a worthy cause, but still not, 7-day-a-week commitment to Christ. Maybe just Sunday morning or maybe just Christmas and Easter type people. And then finally, the difficult but deep faith of being out in that deep water. Those that give everything in their lives to Christ. A faith that at times takes one to places that may be risky or maybe even places they don't want to go, but they go anyway. A faith that encompasses a complete totality of every breath they breathe 7 days a week. And this idea of levels of faith, that doesn't only apply to the individual, that can apply to the church as well. Ask the question, are we a church of the crowd on the shore who just casually listen but not really make any real commitments to moving beyond the safety of the shore and into that water? Or are we a church of Peter, just a little way out from the shore and in the water, cautious, faithfully following, but in waters that will never catch a fish? Or are we a church of deep waters, active and willing to move out from the shallows and into those deep places where we are called to be, but also that's very risky to us, but where the catch can be great? Which church are we? Which individual are we as well? With Jesus' command to Simon Peter to go deeper, Jesus is essentially asking Peter to trust him so much that Peter would be willing to leave the shallow places in his life and his work and begin to explore the depths, to go to the limits of what he thinks is possible in faith. Go out into the deep water, Jesus says. Trust me and just see what happens, Jesus says. And this can be applied to us too. I ask you to just kind of take a moment and think about your life of faith. And think about those times where you may have felt Jesus' call and you didn't act upon it. Or imagine that Jesus is coming to you right now personally, or maybe just in a voice. Maybe it's no more than just a simple thought and says, trust me a little more and see what happens. Go out into the deep water just a bit. Just imagine that for a moment. Imagine the words of Jesus entering into your soul saying that. What would you do? I think Jesus calls each and every one of his followers and his churches many times in our lives. Most of the time, I think we tune it out, but I know it's there. Maybe it's just a feeling of giving more to a cause that you happen to come across on television, or maybe it's just signing up to help with something at church that absolutely terrifies you, or even making an effort to praying thanks for the meal that is before you in a public place, feeling the stares from people. You see, Jesus calls us to deeper water all of the time. And just like Peter, I encourage you to answer that call. For God's grace shows up in the deep waters, and in those deep waters, the rewards are so great.